In this video, I'll be talking about the modern grid experience available within Power Apps. Now, as you see over here, I have a model driven app. Now, the model driven app has a column listed for a specific table. So, as you see over here, this is one of the column: full name, email, company name, business phone, and this is attached to that contacts table. Similarly, I have an accounts table which shows the information in this modern grid interface. Now, this is that entire interface. Now, as you see, there is a top ribbon bar. Then we have the content area. However, in the content area, we have some sort of a contextual uh, ribbon item. I'd not call it as a ribbon item, but then this is like part of the search. There are some buttons related to Copilot, and then you have something called as a header, and then from there the content starts. So this is like the modern interface. Now if you want to select an item, you can just go and select one of the items. So as you see over here, and it says there are rows 296, one item is selected. Now as you see that there are only few items listed over here, not 296. So if you scroll down, it will start loading this information on the fly. So as you see over here, I'm just scrolling, and it is loading information on the fly. So it doesn't load all the information at once. Second, if you want to select multiple, you can just select this checkbox, and then you can see this selected item changes. So it is now 4. Now it becomes 5. Now, if you want to select all, then you can select this item, and then all the 296 items has been selected. Now, if you remove this, then all the items become unselected. Now you can even toggle the selection. So if you select, say, some few items, so you have selected 6. Now if you want to toggle selection of all rows, you can just click over here, and then all those selection item will disappear. Now I have a similar app named as World Airlines Management System, and I have this list over here. So as you see, there are 12 records, and I have added multiple columns of different data types. So I try to accommodate most of the data types. Now the first one is the name column, which is of type string. Now if you click on name, you have an option to sort by alphabetically A to Z or Z to A. You can even go ahead and group by based on the name. Now, once you do a group by, you can then expand it and then view the record information. If you want to get out of that group by, then you just need to select this name column, because now what has happened is, like, once you did the group by on this name column, it has created one more column called as group by name, and then it has provided that selection. Now if you want to get rid of group by, then go and say ungroup, and now it will be reinstated to the previous state. You can filter by various parameters. So if you say you want to filter by, say, equals air france, and then it will only display the record which has air france in it. Now equals is like you need to be very precise, but if you want to just say I want to have and show an airline which has word air in it, okay, then you can specify using the contains. So contains air, and then it will show you this information. Now I'll just clear the filter. So you can clear the filter by selecting clear filter. Then you can set the column width. So if I set the column width, so I can increase the column width or I can decrease the column width. I'll close this option. Then I can move this column to the right. So I'm moving this column to the right. So now currently this interface throws an error with regards to modern query builder, but the whole purpose of this moving left and right is to just arrange your column accordingly as per your requirement. So I'll go back again to this airlines list, and now I'll move on to the another column. Now as you see over here, for name, which is of type single line of text, group by and filter by options are available. But if I select a multiple line of text, then the group by option is no more available. As this is the second column, I get an option to move left and right. The first column just had an option to move right. Now that's about description. Now, if I want to find out, say, let's say if I go and put some value in, say, this contest record, okay, some value, click on save. Okay, I cannot put a value because I have to set the character count to greater than 100. But okay, just to show you one example, like let me put some email over here. So let me put info@qa.com. Okay, I'll click on save. Now here the example which I wanted to show you is like if I want to see which information, which this column, if it contains blank, okay, then I can do that by using filter by, and it will say there is an option which says does not contain. So whether it contains data or does not contain data, I'll say with show me the record which does not contain data or contains data. So I'll say contains data, and there's no record which contains data. If we had put some record in, say, one of the record, then that record would have been shown. So I'll click on clear filter. Then this is a multi-choice, multi-selection of the choice. Now here you do not have group by. However, you can do a filter by. Now filter by equals, I'll say US dollar. I can even select multiple options, so US dollar and Australian dollar. Let me select just one option, US dollar, click on apply, and then it will list down the airline with US dollar as a currency. I can filter by Australian dollar, and I'll click on apply. So there is one record which has US dollar and Australian dollar. So I can filter that out. Then coming to brand image, this is all about the image for that specific airline, the logo. Now you cannot see the logo. Also, you cannot filter on anything. Okay. So I would say if you have an image column, don't add that in the grid. Moving on to the people record, like the created by. Okay, now this is pointing to the user table. Now you have an option to filter by, so you can say filter equals, and then you need to specify the name of the person. Okay, now once you type in, it will automatically search for that and it will show you that record. Now I am the only person who has created this record, so this search doesn't make any sense. Moving on to the date, now you have an option to group by and filter by, like how you did for name, right? So you have these two options now. Now over here, I can do a group by. Now this group by is special. So you can group by none, the year, the quarter, the month, the week, the day, or the fiscal period or the fiscal year. So let me group by week. And if I group by a week, it will show me week number 6, I have added 9 records, and week number 10, I have added 3 record. Again, like group by, will add another column over here just for selection. So you need to go into created on, and then just again, if you want to set up something over here, you can just say group by, say, month. Okay, so I'll say group by month. So March, 3 records created, February, 9 record created, right? So this is how you basically do that group by. Now email also can be done as a group by. So in email, I'll just click on group by, and then it has group by email. Now as you see over here, I can see 9 blank record which does not even have an email. Let me do an ungroup. Okay, now one thing what we have observed over here is like for the date column, so created on. So if I do a group by, say, group by month, okay, now we do not have an option to ungroup here, right? So maybe that's a bug, I don't know. But usually when you group by some column, you should see an ungroup by, ungroup. Now, if I show you for email, I did a group by, but I get an option to ungroup. So I can revert back to the previous sheet. But for the date column, it was not appearing. Moving on to expansion status. So let me get rid of the grouping. Expansion status, group by, filter by, column width. Again, it's of similar nature, but then this is a choice column. So I can do uh, the grouping by, I can do the ungroup by. Then we have another column, yes or no. So I have an option to sort by yes to no or no to yes. I can set the column width. I want to reduce the column width, I can reduce it. And the once the column is sorted, it will show you this arrow which indicates that this is like no to yes, and this indicates yes to no. As you see over here, these are the number of rows to valve. Now, number column. Okay, so let me go into this total aircraft. Let me sort by smaller to larger now over here. So this will be sorted by smaller to larger. Now, this is a special one. So you have an option to group by, which you have already seen, but then we have something called as totals. So what happens when you click on totals, you have an option to sum the information, find the minimum, find the maximum, find the average, or do nothing. So if I just say totals and none, okay, nothing happens. But if I go to totals and say average, then as you see over here, it has shown me the average. Okay. Similarly, let's go to total staff and say totals of average. Now it has given me the average of both the columns. Now for total aircraft, maybe I want a maximum. So it will give me the maximum for total aircraft, and for total staff, it will be just average. I can show the sum as well. So this is the sum, and I can show minimum for total staff. So you can see the minimum for total staff is 123. So this is how you can perform various operation, and then you can see this information in a nice grid. Now what if I minimize this window? Now if I minimize this window, as you see over here, you need to scroll to the right to see this information. Okay, so I'll just maximize this again, and then this is how the information will be displayed. Now in the numeric column or the number column, you can do a grouping by, we can do a filter by, you can do a column width, and you can move it to the left as well, or move to the right. Let me go into airlines again. Now this is how you can basically perform an operation on the grid. Now there is an option to select multiple record. The moment you select multiple record, it will show you this information. Now if I just unselect all these items, and if I say total aircraft totals as say sum, so the sum is 4976. Now if I select one record, if I select another record, if I select multiple records over here, now this selection does not changes the sum, right? This sum will is static, so it is not contextually on basis of selection. Ideally it should be, but currently it is not. So it gives you the sum, or the minimum or maximum or the average for that whole table set. Okay, so irrespective of selection, nothing specific happens. Even the grouping by, so even if you say name group by, you select a record and you want to group by for that specific record, no, you cannot do that. Okay, so this is how basically the modern grid works. So that's it folks, this is all about the modern grid within Power Apps model driven app. Thanks for watching.